All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started with the presentation portion of this. So, hello everyone. My name is BlueBrony.
And I'm Scarlet Fury.
Thank you. We'll see if you clap by the end. And this is Songs from Scratch. And I hit the next button. There we go. Who are you, and what are you doing with that keyboard? Well, we're just a couple of dudes who make pony tunes. And so the point of this panel is we want to kind of walk you through a systematic process for making your own pony songs. And this is by no means a, you have to do it this way. Oh, sweet, we got sound, that's good. But at the same time of showing you the steps, we want to actually make a song live here within the 45-ish minutes or so that they've allotted for us here. So it's going to be exciting, and y'all are going to help us a little bit with that.
Yep.
Alrighty.
So, yes.
Cool.
All right, so the first thing you want to do is, there we go. That's better. All right. First thing you want to do is come up with an inspiration or a theme. This can be based off a character, a feeling, an idea, a concept, a story, and since the show is such a great source of inspiration, that's what we're going with. So,
well, absolutely. There's lots of good stuff. So we're gonna hop right into it here. We need y'all to help us a bit here. Since this is a relatively small room and y'all are, I assume, very, very kind and responsible people. To go ahead and give us a shout out of a character, a feeling, or a concept that we can make a song about. So I'm all ears.
Rainbow Dash.
I hear Rainbow Dash. Imminent Dread. Okay. Imminent Dread from Rainbow Dash. That sounds like fun. Okay.
Rainbow Factory.
Rainbow Factory. Ooh.
oh, okay.
So let me.
Are we just gonna recreate Rainbow
We do not condone plagiarism here.
Let's avoid recreating Rainbow Factory the song.
There's gonna be that one Rainbow Crash.
Yeah. Yes, I love that.
Rainbow Dash and Dread. Let me see if I can boost the.
What if we made it existential?
I like this idea.
There we go.
Existential Dread.
Rainbow Dash leaving the Wonderbolts.
Leaving the Wonderbolts. Okay.
Or perhaps even getting kicked out of the
Wonderbolts.
Wonderbolts.
This is a very dark timeline.
Retiring.
Retiring,
You know what we
yeah.
should do though? We should make it one of those like horribly depressing songs that has a happy tune.
That's a fun idea. Okay, I'm gonna boost the zoom a little bit so y'all can
Control plus.
control. Thank you. I'm a little. There we go.
Shine happy, you Wonderbolts.
So there we go. That's our concept that we're gonna start with. Awesome.
Jinx.
Okay. Okay. Do I talk this one or you?
You go for it.
I go for it. It's cool. All right. So we have our concept: Rainbow Dash, existential dread, retiring from the Wonderbolts for some reason. Who knows? So something that you should probably figure out right when you have your inspiration is what kind of song you want to make. What kind of genre? There's all sorts of genres out there. Some people will often say, "I want to make this genre song," and then they figure out how it relates to pony. That's kind of what the Wonderbolts are about, where it's like, we're a rock band, we also like ponies, and so bring them together. So my only advice for you is, if you're making your own song, is just pick a genre that resonates with you. Don't force yourself to do something that you're unfamiliar with or don't even like that much. Kind of common sense there. Alternatively, if you are someone who already kind of has an instrument that you're familiar with, whether it's piano or guitar, or even like sampling or sound design, there's Lupoof, my goodness. Basically the way Lupoof makes songs is that he has a little board with little pony samples on it, and it's really cool. Anyways, so whatever it takes for you to be able to start generating ideas, whatever is your most familiar instrument, or even your voice, starting with your voice, that's where you should start. So, on that note, the two of us, we kind of have some crossover. We do a lot of stuff with either rock or piano pop or orchestral. I know there's like 1,000 genres out there, but considering we only have 40 minutes to do this, we need y'all's help to decide what genre this song about existential dread from Rainbow Dash for Retiring from the Wonderbolts will be. So we're gonna put it up to a vote. So I'm gonna give you about 5 seconds to make up your mind which one you vote for. All right, and raise your hand if you want it to be a rock song. I like that. I like that. Okay, raise your hand for piano/pop. Okay. Okay.
All right.
And for orchestral. Okay, I think orchestral wins on this
7,
one.
8.
You could do the piano pop and orchestra.
Well, hey, nothing. I love a crossover.
Slow pop rock with orchestral elements.
Oh yeah. I mean, we love jazz, but jazz is like one of those things where it's actually kind of hard to like make in 40 minutes. Yeah, very much so. Okay, awesome. So we have our concept, we have our genre. Now, what I like to do is come up with a central musical hook. A lot of songs, you know, they usually have that one line that you hear over and over again, and it's kind of the earworm. Like, see Koa, all of her songs are earworms. So what I think is a good way to kind of get your creative juices flowing is to come up with a short little hook for your track. Now, a hook could either be a melodic line, you know, just like da 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 da, you know, from WYSIWYG from the Wonderbolts. That's a wonderful line. Or, in the case of a vocal-centric track, coming up with whatever is like a good catchphrase for the whole song. Usually that'll end up being at like the end of the chorus or something like that. You know, like I think of, going back to Koa again, no rainbows, pizza party. She goes over and over again, and let me tell you, that's a good song. It's, and that also is a song about Rainbow Dash and Rainbow Factory, come to think about it.
Oh,
I promise we're not plagiarizing.
I promise we're not plagiarizing.
It's called inspiration, not plagiarism.
Absolutely. So when it comes up with this hook, you know, some people say, well, why not just start, you know, from the beginning and just write the song beginning to end? And I say, sure, you can totally do that. You can just start from the beginning and just see what comes out. But I've found that, especially with these kind of more tracks that are kind of more centered on like vocals, it's better to have a hook and then build out instead of trying to go from start to finish, because sometimes you don't know if the song's going to be 1 minute or like 18 minutes or something. That's true. L Train does make really, really long songs sometimes.
or
I
in my
remember
case,
those old symphonic metal shit.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that stuff was good though.
it's still loading the template. Hold on here.
That's the one thing about an orchestral template. Those synthesized sounds, my goodness, those take up a lot of RAM and
My
stuff.
hot take about synthesization is though, you can never get a synthesized saxophone.
That's true.
I agree. Yeah, I have not found a good synthesized saxophone.
I am biased though.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I have heard some pretty good ones, I will say. I have heard some good
We
ones.
got some sound coming.
Cool.
Cool.
Right.
So, let me go back here. It is 3:15, so we got 30-ish minutes before we need to record vocals and stuff.
All right.
Cool. So, in the meantime, while Scarlet is starting to work on the instrumental side of things, I'm going to start working on lyrics because, you know, it's better to split up the work sometimes with this kind of stuff,
Yep.
especially with our time limit on.
What tempo were you thinking?
Let's see yours. It's so we're talking about epic orchestral.
It depends, I guess, on whether or not we want to go with like the happy sounding but actually depressing song, or a dark sort of epic orchestral.
Right.
I'd say about 90.
I think always a good average.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Okay.
90.
I'm gonna quickly turn on a metronome on my phone, which is another good thing to have, by the way. Always have a metronome nearby, because then you can tap it and get a feel for what tempo you want. tempo that we're kind of something like that. So it's kind of a marchy type feel almost.
Well, most marches are at what, 108?
Yeah, they're a little bit faster, but this one is more like a.
Well, I guess I'm used to like military marches, which are standard at 108.
Yeah,
A
absolutely.
little latency between my keyboard and the sound system, so bear with me there.
Alright.
Gotcha. Do we want to? Oh man, that is a huge amount of latency.
That's on your computer.
Okay. Well, while he's working on that, we're going to start looking at lyrics. Okay. So, a vocal hook, since we're talking about Rainbow Dash retiring from the Wonderbolts, why do we think she was retiring from the Wonderbolts?
Broken Wing.
Broken Wing, old, what else?
Scandal is band name.
Scandal.
I was thinking it ties into something that I had written a long time ago, which is just the one lyric of "Why You Fly."
Oh yeah, what's that?
It's essentially just that, figuring out why you fly.
Why you fly. Okay, okay.
Plus, it has a rhyme.
Why you fly. I like this idea. So it's Rainbow Dash. She's old. She's got a broken wing, and plus, like, there's some scandals surrounding her, and so she's being pushed out from her position for some reason. And so,
I was thinking maybe instead it was like some scandal happened and it like conflicts with her values, so she leaves.
oh, okay.
Because she held the Wonderbolts to such a high regard, and suddenly that sort of podium is gone.
Okay. So that's another thing idea. So, Wonderbolts, which, of course, we've never seen it in the show when the Wonderbolts do something really scummy.
Oh yeah, totally not. There's not an episode in which Rainbow Dash was fighting for something.
Aren't they like part of the military? So wouldn't it be like a military thing that they did? Because like in the Sombra,
Yes, the
So
Wonderbolts.
Wonderbolts are technically part of like the equestrian military.
Always Sunny theme suddenly pops up. The one where the Wonderbolts do war crimes.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, they are kind of like a military-ish. They definitely like, you know, they're called off. You know, the Blue Angels is what they're definitely based on, that kind of stuff. So there's that kind of military honor aspect to it.
All
right.
This time. Later on, we'll switch the projector over to my screen so you can see how I'm doing this.
So I'm thinking like the hook of the song should be something like where she says, "Sometimes I don't even know why you fly." You know, something like that.
Or like, tell me why you fly, for like the
Ooh, tell me why you fly. I like that. That's going to be our lyrical hook for this song. So she's saying, tell me, so she's talking to a young recruit.
Perhaps Scoodle.
Maybe the military honor goes like a more military meet, like a boot camp.
That's true.
Tell me why.
Get that snare drum out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love all
just
this
about to start
creativity in this
working on
room.
that sort of rhythm.
All right.
I see we're creating a military march today.
Cool. All right. So before I go too far into the weeds here, I'm going to let Scarlet keep working. In the meantime, I'm going to talk a little bit more about how we go from a little musical idea, which is what we just came up with, into a full song. So, you have your hook. And it's like, okay, that's what the song's going to be about. It's really cool. Now what? Well, the way I like to approach it is to think of your song as different sections that you kind of meld together. So just about every genre has a common set of sections. You know, you'll have something called an intro, you'll have a verse, and you'll have a chorus. The chorus, of course, being the thing that's repeated a lot, that is usually the part of the song that's most memorable. The bridge is like a special chorus, but it only happens once. And then the outro. Those are just some common sections. And then different genres have very specific sections, such as with an EDM, you'll hear about the drop, and that's when everything goes crazy. Or when you're talking about a jazz song or a rock song, you'll have a solo section where it's all about, you know, they play just a simple set of chords and let whoever is in the spotlight go crazy and noodle, all that fun stuff. So we might have a solo section. We'll see how it goes with the planning.
And depending on time too.
And depending on time too, of course. Orchestral guitar, that's another fun combination too. Just like orchestral and rock, they blend so well together, and you wouldn't think of it at first. But I mean, especially like metal opera and stuff like that, when you realize that both metal and opera and like orchestral, they both are very dramatic, and they're all about the dramatic flair. And so that's why they go together so well.
Have such good symmetry.
Absolutely. You wouldn't think of it, but it's really well. So when it comes to orchestral, and jazz, kind of those kind of tracks, and they don't normally have names for their sections. It's more like, okay, this is the A section, then the B section, and then this section is almost the exact same, but there's a slight change, so they'll call it like a prime section. So A prime, B prime, C prime, etc. So you have a hook, and this hook is probably going to be part of your chorus. So what you do is you have your hook, then you build a chorus. Once you have a chorus, it's like, okay, how do we get to the chorus? You build a verse, because it normally goes first to your chorus. Now you have a verse and a chorus, and then you can do something like verse, chorus, chorus. It's a very common sort of thing. You especially see it in pop. Maybe you'll add in a bridge. And so that's kind of how I approach going from just one simple idea to turning into a full song. Because I know some people will have problems where they're like, I have a really cool loop and I don't know what to do with it.
Yep, I've run into that even with orchestral stuff.
Oh,
Sometimes
absolutely.
you come up
Yeah.
with just this epic sounding intro, and then you're like,
And now
do
I'm
I
out of
go?
steam. Yeah, I don't know where to go.
Don't make it the intro.
Sometimes you write a song, you write a section, it's like, okay, this is going to be the chorus, and then you realize, oh, wait a minute, no, this is the bridge. But that's okay, because during the creative process, you're free to build up and break down and shake around and just do whatever you want, because that's what's part of the fun of making a song. So, you have the idea for sections. Now, you have two options here. You can either go and try and build an entire backing track, which is just the instrumental, or you can try and build the vocals if you have vocals in your track first. So which comes first, the instrumental or the vocals?
Either.
Either, exactly. But in my experience, I've found that having a backing track first makes things easier to make an entire track. When I collab with artists from all over the United States and the world, sorry for the humble brag. Oftentimes it will be a situation like, as a matter of fact, when I did a song with Agatan and Drummer Shy, Drummer Shy, he's all about the drums and he's really good at that. Agatan is a really good singer, and so naturally it just comes out where I will usually come up with the backing track, Drummer Shy will come in with some epic drums, and then Agatan will sing the vocals on top, and we make an awesome song that way. So you see the order there, it goes backing track, drums, and then vocals. So that's why I think the backing track is usually what you want to go with first if you want to have vocals in your song. And this backing track doesn't necessarily have to be like completely perfect and ready, as long as it's, as long as you have a skeleton. That way, A, you know how long the song is, and B, it gives the vocalist a good idea of, okay, how hard do I sing here? How light do I sing here? Because if the instrumental's big and loud, then the singer's going to get big and loud. Whereas if it's soft and quiet, then the singer is more likely to sing soft and quiet. So it's a good system. Another thing is that when you have an instrumental, it can kind of help the lyrics come together, because oftentimes, lyrics is dependent on the rhythm and the beat and how often the singer has to breathe. He'll hydrate. So on that note, looking at the vocals, looking at the vocals and lyrics, my view is that lyrics are a poem set to music. It's an interesting way to think about it. So I know a lot of people, a lot of musicians, where they'll write some really epic instrumental stuff, and I love hearing that, and then they just really have a hard time with lyrics. I feel like that's what a lot of people have trouble with, is coming up with lyrics. So what I've found is that if you want to write better lyrics, there's a few ways you can approach that. One is study the lyrics of your favorite artists. You know, one of my big influences is the band Switchfoot, and that's largely because their lyrics are like really interesting rhyming patterns, and they kind of, you have to listen to it a few times to understand what they're saying. But once you get it, it's like, oh wow, that's a really deep thing. And so that's what, and, you know, plus that's really fun. You get to listen to the music you like, you know, a whole lot of times and discover something about why you like it so much. Another thing you can do is just go out there and read poetry. You know, there's all sorts of good stuff out there. And if a lyric is just a poem set to music, then if you read poetry, that'll help you write your lyrics. On that other note, the best way to get better at writing lyrics is to write lyrics. Yeah, exactly, just do it. It's just the same way as the best way to get better at making a song is to make a song. Or, you know, just about anything where you have to hone your craft. You know, don't expect to write your Shakespearean sonnet the first time that you put pen to paper. But if you do it 1,000 times, you can probably get pretty close. Another thing I like to use when I'm working on lyrics is a rhyming dictionary. Or, you know, I guess Google does the same thing these days. But sometimes, you know, when I'm having a hard time coming up with inspiration, I'll just look at what word rhymes with orange, and then I was like, oh, okay, that could be a fun way. How can I make a sentence that makes sense with those two words? And finally, another thing that you can do to help improve your lyric writing is to get feedback from trusted friends. Definitely feedback is one of those quickest ways to improve, even though it is a little scary. So turning lyrics into vocals. So you wrote a really awesome poem. Now you gotta turn it into vocals. So you need to have a melody attached to it. So when you, one thing to keep in mind is that if you have a melody in mind, make sure you can sing it. That's not too high or too low for your voice. That was a mistake I made a couple of times in my early songs, where I'd be like, oh man, it sounds so cool, and then it's like, oh, I can't hit the high note.
I've had that happen too.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
And then you have to sing it at shows, and then you crack your voice, and it's really embarrassing. Another thing that's really important is make sure that you leave room to breathe. That's another mistake that I made in some of my early songs, where I just never had time to breathe.
I do that a lot with my fast rock vocals sometimes. It's like,
That's true.
okay, I'm having a little technical difficulty. The program crashed on me for some reason, and I
Oh,
lost
man.
everything I just did.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Why don't we stick with, like, start with just piano, but we'll keep the orchestral,
Template? Yeah.
or, like,
Idea.
yeah, or ideal, but like, you know, stick with an instrument that you're really familiar with.
Okay.
That way it'll be less likely to crash.
And make sure to hit save.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that.
That's all right, man.
Control S.
These things happen.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of doing things live. You never know what happens sometimes.
So that's another lesson. Control S. Be trigger happy on the Control S. That's your best friend. Save all the time.
Whenever I
Indeed.
do digital art, I have a timer set for 5 minutes. And every 5 minutes, I hit Control S.
That's a good plan.
For some softwares, you have to do it like every time you make a change.
Yeah.
Especially if the computer is relatively garbage.
Yeah, this computer is not the best for this, but I'm making do with what I got.
Absolutely. And that's all we ask, you know? When I started out, I had 500 gigabytes of storage, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and it was running on Windows 7. And I had all my schoolwork on it. But I still managed to make tunes with it, so. I know some producers out there, they'll use their phone even for making music. You can use anything you want, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you feel like you want to experiment with. Yeah, that's true. If you have a Mac, GarageBand is a free program that comes with it. And it's pretty darn good.
Do you have any DAW recommendations?
DAW recommendations.
FL Studio.
FL Studio is pretty popular, and I think it's pretty powerful, especially for like EDM. I think is where it really shines.
If it's just audio you're looking to record, I mean, Audacity works fine.
Yeah, if you're just looking to record like a piano or your vocals or kind of more of acoustic sets, Audacity honestly works pretty well. It's a little limited, but I mean it's free, so it's hard to beat free.
Comparatively, Reaper, if you're just doing live stuff, Reaper is just $60 compared to like FL Studio being $400, and it's just as simple as Audacity, but you get mixer tracks and live effects and stuff. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Reaper, but I know some people who are. So yeah, they were saying that Reaper is good for live applications, and yeah, that's pretty cool. So the DAW I use is Studio One by PreSonus, and so PreSonus does a lot of audio equipment and like mixers and stuff like that. And I mean, the main reason I picked that was I got a bundle with the Blue Yeti microphone. So honestly, if you happen to go pick up a USB microphone bundle that has some software attached to it, might as well give it a try, because most of the DAWs out there that are mainstream, I'd say they're all very powerful in their own way. Some of them are a little bit more better suited for other genres than others. I'd say PreSonus is kind of good for like band, but it also works for orchestral and stuff like that because it does pretty good. It kind of looks similar to Ableton and Logic Pro. And you'll find out, all these names, they're all very similar to each other. Ableton, of course, is very popular with certain EDM artists. It's good for live stuff. And I think it's also the DAW that Hans Zimmer uses for his orchestral scores. But most of the professionals out there, they'll use Pro Tools, and that's mainly because it was the first like major DAW that came out. And Pro Tools is very powerful, but it's also very finicky.
On the plus side, you can get it with a subscription, and I think it's like $10 a month. So it's not too terrible.
That's another thing to watch out for is some of them are.
Yeah, some of them you do gotta pay for.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Alright, so since I lost everything, I'm trying to make it up with just piano for now.
Yeah, that's fine. Sometimes you gotta go back to your roots. But we'll keep that in mind. So, but we can still write some lyrics for this Rainbow Dash, Existential Dread, leaving the Wonderbolts retiring with the hook, tell me why you fly, that's a pretty, I like that line. So, let's start working on some lyrics for that. So, tell me why you fly sounds like either the starting line or the ending line of the chorus.
I wrote something and it's the end.
Gotcha.
I think it kind of sounds like a middle line. It sounds like we're going for like a more military march type theme. I think it sounds sort of like sergeant going as a repeating line. Tell me why you fly, something like that.
Oh, I see. So it's more of an ensemble song.
Yeah, like sort of like a musical type deal.
I don't know if that matches with her theme of existential dread.
She's retiring. She's training up the next generation, but she's not confident in what this next generation will be.
Yeah, so you have the military machine that always marches forward, and then you have a conflicted Rainbow Dash. As far as the existential dread goes, it's like we're marching to death, straight to death. Since we're talking existential dread, My Little Pony.
So
Tell me why you fly.
So if this song is from Rainbow Dash's perspective, and
Yeah.
you're talking to someone else, then I think the next line should be a question. Like, is it for this?
Is it for the fame? Is it for the glory?
What if it's, is it for the flame or is it for the sky?
Is it for the flame or for the sky? Ooh, I
Is it
like
for
that.
the, or fame, I said
Fame?
or flame, either works. Is it for the fame or is it for the sky? Essentially, like, do you do it because you want to be noticed, or do you do it with,
Because you
the
like
freedom,
flying, yeah.
the freedom of flying?
Because it rhymes with fly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Fly
that
and
sounds
sky.
more useful.
That's why I like that one.
And then the next one will be try.
Okay.
Well, I was thinking we could then change the rhyme to like
country and queen.
You could go to tell me why you
for
try.
fly, like soar.
Okay. A synonym for fly, so cinnamon. Synonym. Okay. All right. Tell me why you fly. Is it for the fame or is it for the sky? Okay, next session.
Tell me why you soar.
Yeah, tell me why you soar.
Is it just about war?
I think maybe at the beginning you should have like another response to that first question, like tell me why you fly some frames through the sky, and then right after that we say we have another thing, and then we have tell me why you soar.
So another thing. So you're thinking like a response to that.
Not necessarily a response, more of her asserting a counter to what that hypothetical thing would say. Like they're sending you off to your grave, or like some sort of witty banter.
Oh, we could actually make this.
What is
Tell me
it?
why you soar. Maybe have something right before that. It says like maybe there has to be more.
Okay, I like that as a ending line because it's like looking for meaning. There has
to be more.
to be more.
Soar can go melodically up, you know.
Tell me why you soar. Yeah, something like that.
By the way, if it helps, I'm currently working in the key of C minor.
C minor. Cool. By the way, so that's for you. C minor.
I'm gonna look up my C minor blues skill real quick.
All right. Tell me why you soar. Is it for
Wait, is that in
the?
concert?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it for your country or for your home?
E flat
I
A.
think that would be A, right? So this is an E flat. It's true.
Just a
Or is it
one.
for your corps, as in the military, or is it for your corps?
Is it for four? Gotcha. Because one is like, is it about love for your country, or is it about love for your fellow flyers? There has to be more. Okay, there has to be more can be like the end of the line. End of that section, because we don't necessarily want to have a definitive answer because it is existential dread. It's not existential. Oh, I figured it out. No more existential dread.
Okay, I'm getting an unknown error.
Do we think we can
Oh,
make
yeah.
the lyrics a
And
little
it's not
less
letting me save it.
clunky and make it, is it for the fame or for the sky? Is it for your country or your corps?
I think having it out like that, the repetition sort of makes it hang in more. Having the word sort of like gets rid of the repetition, gets rid of the dread.
Good idea. I like that.
Never mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And part of it also has to do with how you pace the lyrics. I'm imagining this as you have a line, these 3 lines, and then there's a brief pause, and then you have those 3 lines, and by then it allows for build up.
Okay, to Google.
Maybe in the middle of. My mind's still stuck on having something in between. Like, tell me why you fly, tell me why you soar. Sort of like something different to sort of like, because these are both the same. I feel like that would get repetitive. Something in the middle between those two. And I would say maybe something like a revelation that she's had, but she doesn't want to like quite get it out. Saying that she's seen something bad that's happened.
I'll tell you why I fly.
Say a war against zebras or something silly like that.
Yeah, I kind of like this idea of like in between. It's like in the background you hear the propaganda machine going, saying something like this is what you were made for, or something like that.
And at the last, tell me why.
This gives me some vibes.
It gives some sort of like
war song almost.
Yeah, I'm liking the way this is going. This is what.
Yeah, I was just thinking like the very last. Tell me why you're sober. I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you, and it's like, and she like sort of dispels the propaganda going in between these 2 lines as she goes, saying it's not this.
I can't tell you why you fly. I can't tell you why you soar. I can't tell you why you fly.
They will or something.
Repeating, yeah.
I like this idea. We have some really fun ideas. Okay, so this is kind of like the main, like, this is the chorus type thing. So the verses, I think we should focus on Rainbow Dash, specifically her inner monologue as to, you know, saying something like, I can't do this anymore, they pushed me out, you know, I might as well be a dead mare.
They send us to the zebras, they send us to the horde, they send us to the fire right outside our door.
I like this fun ideas. Okay, I can't do this anymore. They sent us.
See, if we're following sort of like almost like a Fallout Equestria type thing,
Yes.
a lot of
This
it
is
has to do-
slowly turning into a Fallout Equestria song.
Yeah, I get
Yeah.
A
it.
lot of it would also have to do with like, you know, is this truly like a fight or is it for like
Sent us like a
basically, oh joy, we're writing a song that's about the military-industrial complex.
Indeed.
Oh no.
What rhymes with zebras?
Zebra, that's true.
Oh,
I somebody get a rhyming dictionary.
Hold on. We have Google.
Or it could be griffins instead of zebras, because Rainbow Dash was friends with griffins.
That's-
and
ooh, I like
she
that.
was sent to
And it's
war,
also
even though they were friends.
Less racially
Easier
charged. I
rhyme.
like it.
It's an easier rhyme.
Yeah.
Libra, Amoeba, Piedra. What's Piedra?
They send us to the Griffins. They send us like a horde. I can't do this anymore. They send us to the Griffins. They send us like a horde. I can't do this
Wait,
anymore.
would defend rhyme with Griffin?
It would work. That's another thing. You can make
So
near
Griffins,
rhymes.
like they send us to the Griffins, they send us like a horde and tell us.
How about
I'm
I
thinking- I'm
can't
thinking
do this
sounds-
anymore isn't the first line, and make that.
Yeah, I don't like.
They send us to the griffins. They send us like a horde. Da 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 da. I can't do this anymore.
I like that.
Ooh, I
It
like
never
it.
made a
This definitely
difference.
sounds more
So,
like a
da, da,
march.
da, da,
It
da,
never
da.
made a
Bum,
difference.
yeah, bum,
I never made a difference. Oh, I love that line.
Oh.
Made a difference. I can't do this
So,
anymore.
would you said C flat?
So this one is
Would C
about
flat-
her
C flat blues be okay?
her moral objections to the war, where she said, "I can't do this anymore." The second part could be about her physical limitations. She can't do this anymore.
They're making us march. I'm nearly 74. So.
That's a comedy. Okay. But I still like having the repetition of having this line, I can't do this anymore at the end. Okay. They take everything from you.
Okay, when templates don't work, go from scratch. Let's try this.
They take everything from you,
And then they take some more.
and then they take some more. And then they take some more. If your wings are broken, there's something about broken wings. We need to mention that so that the audience knows what's going on.
My wings are old and brittle.
Yes, here's, my bones are old and brittle. My bones,
We're writing something very edgy.
yeah, very edgy. Okay. My bones are old and brittle. I can't do this anymore.
You know, I could also see this being like a bona fide Sabaton song.
All right.
Yeah, rock was the other genre I was seeing this work with.
So, here's our verse. They send us to the Griffins. They send us like a horde. It never made a difference. I can't do this anymore. They take everything from you, and they take some more. My bones are old and brittle. I can't do this anymore. Oh.
And then they take some more.
And then they take some more. I like that. Okay. See, you guys could make pony songs. And then they take some more. Yeah, I like that.
Shouldn't it be took instead of take more?
And then they took some more. Good point.
I think if you take some more present tense, she's speaking what she was rather than they took.
That's true. Yeah, the first line says take. So.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. So shouldn't the first line be like took? They took everything from you,
She's talking
then
to
they
the
took some
present.
more.
Yeah, this is a present moment
Oh, okay,
because
okay.
it's her current cognitive dissonance.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's the verse, and then we go into the chorus where we have "Tell me why you fly. Is it for the fame or is it for the sky? This is what you are for. Tell me why you soar. Is it for your country or is it for your corps? I can't tell you why. That's a pretty awesome verse and chorus right there. So, congratulations, y'all.
So now here's the question: are you gonna take this home and actually make it into a real song?
Maybe. I mean, you know, we Scarlet and I actually did a practice run for this like a few weeks ago, and
It went much smoother.
well,
It's okay.
yeah, it's
worry
okay,
about it.
and you know, we might turn that into like a full-fledged song someday. But that's kind of the fun of this, you know. We're just kind of shooting the breeze and having fun together, and I tell you what, this is a pretty awesome song. Maybe I have to turn it into something.
The big thing is you need to make sure it's not like they're just introducing to a cadet. She says like something like, "Welcome about Buckaroos, get yourself get out of your arrest. You have no more rest," or something like somewhere she's introducing that. Hey, she's speaking to a group of cadets going to the academy or something like that.
Or just like, all right, cadets, they sent us to the Griffin.
Yeah, how about the all right cadets? 'Cause that sounds like way too cheesy.
Well, yeah, there's I love all of this creativity going on here. We are just about out of time. I'm gonna save this, and I'm probably gonna post this maybe on our Twitter.
Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, for people. So
You can probably turn
Rainbow
this into a song
Sad dot text.
Careful, working titles become real titles if you're up to.
Yes.
That's true.
Rainbow Sad.
This is a really cool concept, y'all. I love this. All right.
What's your Twitter?
BlueBrony?
Yeah, okay, so
Yeah,
I kept
my-
running into an error that wouldn't let me save, so I may just have to make something up as I go.
It's all right, my dude. Do what you can. So I'm going to just briefly talk about this last slide here with the little bit of time we have left. So, of course, right now we're basically making a sketch of a song. It's not complete. It's not super amazing, but here's the thing: polish. Polish is what turns a good song into a banger. You know, it's the difference between, you know, there's a reason why people like John Kenza and stuff end up being on main stage, and it's because their songs are just so dang polished. There's so much going on, and it's very well produced. And that's, you know, there's a whole lot of really good artists that I've heard who don't really get nearly as much attention. And, you know, part of the reason is that it's a matter of mixing, it's a matter of mastering, it's getting a little more ear candy. You know, everybody knows about Jick Rowe's amazing epic orchestral type stuff, but there's tons of other orchestral musicians out there who also do some really great stuff. It's just a matter of how people different approach it. That being said, with polishing is just another word for mixing and mastering, and it's a whole nother skill set, but it's a fun thing to follow through on. So there's all sorts of ways you can polish your song using stuff like equalization or EQ, compression, saturation, vocal correction, delay, reverb, automation. All of these are tools that you can use to help give your song a little extra, make it more pleasing to the ear, pleasing to the listener. And there's that's like a whole nother panel at next year. So come back next year.
Part two.
Part two, yes, where we finish this song. Alrighty. So on that note, let's see. Do we want to try and do a live? How we doing?
Yeah, let's just do it live. I'll just improvise.
We'll do it live.
Here we go, folks. We're gonna do it live. Hold on to your hats. This is gonna be very interesting. Let's do it. So do you have like a loop going for it or something like that? If you could
I
loop it.
have nothing, so I'm going to have to play it.
All right. So an easiest way, if you are doing it live, is something like a 4 chord cycle.
Yes.
Say,
Something like that.
yeah. So I'll let you get comfortable, start playing around with that, and then I'm gonna make up the vocals on the spot. This is gonna be so much fun. But I'm gonna use y'all's lyrics.
All right.
friends. They sent us like a horde. It never made a difference. I can't do this anymore. They take everything from you, and then they take some more. My bones are old and brittle. I can't do this anymore. Tell me why you fly. Is it for the fame or is it for the sky? Tell me why you fly. Is it for the fame or is it for the sky? This is what you are made for. Tell me why you soar. Is it for your country or for your core? Tell me why you're sore. Is it for your country or is it for your core? I can't tell you why. So let me sing a sax song about it. Let the sax play us out. Is it for the fame or for the sky? Tell me why you soar. Is it for your country or for your core? Tell me why you fly. Is it for the fame or for the sky? Tell me why you soar. Is it for your country or for your core? Thank you. Turned jazzy at the end. I love it. So thank you all. This was Songs from Scratch. I'm BlueBrony. This is Scarlet Fury. You can follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Bandcamp, Mastodon, all the fun stuff. I think we will be posting this stuff on Twitter, our little song and dance and whatever.
Yes.
We'll post something.
Yeah, we'll post something.
And thank you, SaxPon3, for giving us your talents. And thanks to all of you for helping put this song together. This was so much fun. Alrighty, we gotta let the next panel get into here.
Yes.
So go have fun. See y'all around.
Oh, and check out our next panel tomorrow at what was it, 1:30.
1:30. How to get involved in the Brony music community.